VigilanteWilliamson here with a very simple question, and that is, why do fan bases want their teams to tank in the NFL? It's not the NBA, right, where you have a Wembanyama or, you had the year with John Morant and Zion Williamson, even though there's some questions about both, especially Zion, no relation. But when you have these can't-miss players that immediately change everything overnight, it can happen, but it often doesn't. I am sure, without looking specifically, there are channels that are simultaneously criticizing teams like the New York Giants or the Las Vegas Raiders for winning late season games and criticizing guys like Bryce Young or Caleb Williams, who were #1 overall picks. So it's like, wait, you want your team to consistently lose a game for #1 overall picks while simultaneously criticizing other players who were #1 overall picks, instead of connecting, this ain't the NBA, motherfucker. And even in the NBA, you miss all the damn time. In the NFL, you have to be good at drafting. You have to be good at drafting a Brock Purdy at Mr. Irrelevant, a Tom Brady in the 6th round. Even Patrick Mahomes, was he number 10 pick? Very few #1 overall picks actually pan out, right? Why do you want your team to tank? You have to draft well wherever the fuck you are. No matter what team. First off, you have to draft well in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round, because that's where a lot of the value is. Yes, every now and again you have a Joe Burrow who goes #1. But then look at some of these other #1 picks. How many fucking Jamarcus Russells, and technically he was a #2 pick, but Ryan Leafs and other top 5, top 10 quarterbacks or other offensive players have to go. Even defense. You guys remember when Jadeveon Clowney, who's been a great veteran and a good player for most of his career, but nowhere near what we thought he would be out of college. It's not the same. It's not the same. You can't get away from drafting smartly, right? There's no way around it. There's no way around it. And so much is based upon hype when it comes to a lot of these quarterbacks. I got another video I'm working on talking about how overvalued quarterbacks are as a whole in the NFL. But I think this is another symptom of it. It's like, oh man, the Giants won't be able to get Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. And listen, I hope both players pan out and both are good. But if I told you, oh, they can't get Bryce Young, and Bryce has turned it around, a lot of you was like, oh, fuck Bryce Young. He's not good. He's this, he's that, and the third. Or a Kyler Murray, who a lot of people have questions about now. Even Trevor Lawrence, a lot of people are starting to have questions about. Caleb Williams, shout out to the flamboyance of Caleb Williams, a lot of people have questions about now, right? These are top #1 picks. These are the guys that you want your team to tank for, and then when they don't pan out, or God forbid, need time to develop more than a few weeks, you can't wait to bash these guys. So why do you want your team to tank for these guys? I'm sorry. A Peyton Manning situation, a Andrew Luck situation where you have, and I know I'm picking on the Colts, but you have a team that is going nowhere and then they pick a quarterback and then they turn it around, is rare. And don't forget, Peyton Manning sucked. Ooh, I almost said a word that YouTube doesn't like. For his first year, he threw like 28 picks his first year. That was back when we used to develop quarterbacks and let them fail into getting better. Troy Aikman was a bad first-year quarterback, but obviously he was also a #1 overall quarterback that went well. John Elway. It does happen, but we're talking like 8 times over 30 years, 40 years. It may happen. I hope Cam Ward and Shedeur are the best quarterbacks of all time ever. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to bash them. I'm not trying to say they're not going to be good, but you don't fucking know. There's no such thing as can't miss in the NFL. If you do not draft good 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round players, if you not draft for what you need, listen, I'm a Lions fan. For years, even when we had fucking Barry Sanders, we've had a shitty offensive line. And you know what we finally did? We start addressing our offensive line, and not all of a sudden, Panay Sewell, shout out Panay Sewell, and Frank, I always fuck up Frank's name, I always want to call him Frank Ragnarok. It's not Frank Ragnarok, it's Frank Ragnow. I love Frank, shout out to Big Frank, pause. But until you address those type of needs, like an offensive line, defensive line, those fundamental needs, it doesn't fucking matter what you do at quarterback. Hell, go back to Joe Burrow I said this in the MVP video. The team around him really isn't that good outside of his receivers. He's had offensive line issues the entire time he's been there. The defense is falling off now. You have to have a team around your quarterback. If you are drafting the quarterback, you need to make sure you can draft guys like, going back to Detroit, Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 3rd round, right? Can you find these guys? Too many guys get hyped up by Mel Kiper, who I think is like 14% correct or less. He's one of the worst. He's one of the worst humans at their job ever. Mel Kiper, love him or hate him, he's one of the worst prognosticators of draft translation ever. Even though he's most known for that. And so many people just go off of the hype. Oh, this guy's gonna do this in the NFL because it was good in college. I don't know. Listen, I give up. I don't know what's gonna translate. I have no idea, especially in a post-NIL world, to know what players are going to really work hard, really put in the effort that it takes to be an NFL player. Even guys who I thought were can't miss. Look at Travis Hunter. I know that we all have our jokes talking about his situation with his young lady. That could absolutely affect him as a player. He might not be the player he should be because of it, or the opposite could happen where he gets motivated to work even harder because of all the hate he's getting on the internet. I don't know which is going to happen. I don't know if his off the field stuff is going to affect him. I don't know if it's going to make him better. I don't know if it's going to make him worse. A lot of people, didn't Randy Moss get caught with weed or something like that, or pass or fail a drug test, something like that, and then he got drafted late in the 1st round and then became this great player, this Hall of Fame player. I know he's had some issues with his health going forward. I hope he's good. I think he is good, at least the last reports. You don't know. We don't know. You never know. It's so hard, pause again, to know who's going to translate from college into the NFL. So, long and short, you do not want your team to tank. Going back to my Lions, you much rather your team do what we did a few years ago where didn't look like we had much hope, and then we ended up 9-8. We were like 1-6, 1-7. Ended up 9-8. Forgive me for the record. I'm doing this off the top. I don't have stat muse nothing in front of me, and we built ourselves into something that we are now a championship competing team. That's what you want to do. You do not want to tank. You do not want to tank because you'll be tanking fucking forever. I'm also a South Carolina Panthers fan. I wish that the people can get free Bojangles biscuits and free Krispy Kreme, because that's what happens when they win. Shout out to the Carolina Panthers. I spent a lot of my time in Charlotte. For those long-term subs to the YouTube channel know, I wish them well. They've been in a tank mode for a few years, and they got Bryce Young. I think he's played a lot better the end of this season, but you know what I mean? You don't want to be that. You don't want to just be tanking forever. The Lions used to tank forever. Oh man, well what we did is draft wide receivers. We finally got Calvin Johnson. Roy Williams was good too, but we finally got Calvin Johnson. We finally got Matthew Stafford, and we finally had a few playoff runs in the late I'm about to say 2000s, 90s, whatever, early 2010s to mid 2010s. We had some decent teams, but tanking doesn't work, man. Tanking, not in the NFL. It can work sometimes, every orange moon, but you really want to just get good at drafting. You have to get good at drafting no matter where you draft. So what do you say? Are you mad that your team didn't tank into getting a potential Caleb Williams or potential Bryce Young? Could be a CJ Stroud or Jaden Daniels too. It doesn't always fail. But what do you think about tanking in the NFL? You tell me. Peace.